Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and iOS 26.0.1 has been out to the general public for a couple weeks at this point. And in this video, I'm going to give you my overall experience of iOS 26.0.1. I'm going to go over the battery life, battery health, and performance, and also run the Geekbench score and share that during the video as well. Now, this past week, we had some announcements from Apple. No one has really mentioned this so far, but this past week, Apple announced not only the 14-inch M5 MacBook Pro, but personally, one of my favorite products, not the iPad Air, though that's also my favorite, they announced the M5 iPad Pro. And honestly, while it hasn't been redesigned and the wallpaper still looks the same, it features the M5 chip. And it only comes in two colors. It comes in black and it comes in silver. And I put some pictures of the M5 iPad Pro that I have stored in the Craft app here. This is the new M5 iPad Pro. And we also have the M5 MacBook Pro that Apple also announced on their website as well. If we go to it here we have the M5 14-inch MacBook Pro. Now, I initially thought that we would have an event, but instead it is just a press release. The products, the M5 iPad Pro and M5 MacBook Pro, are going to get released on Wednesday, October 22nd. And when they do get released, I will have a live stream talking about the pricing and the specs for both the M5 iPad Pro and the M5 MacBook Pro. So leave a comment down below. What do you think of these products? And there you can see a bug in Safari. Every time I double click on the three-dot menu, sometimes this bug is hard to reproduce, but as you just saw, my search bar completely disappeared. That does happen from time to time, and that happened with iOS 26. Now, as far as my performance running iOS 26.0.1, well, if we go into Apple Podcast and we give it a second to load here, it generally loads nice and quickly. And I will have a podcast probably around the time more closer to when we find out more information on the M5 iPad Pro and MacBook Pro, as I'm going to talk about the prices for those devices. I will have a podcast on Spotify, and it will be uploaded to the Hawkins Tech podcast. I haven't had a podcast in quite some time. About a month or so was the time I did my last podcast. But going into Apple Podcasts, it generally loads. Well, you just saw a bit of lag right there, but it generally loads exceptionally great. Apart from, again, when it does get laggy from time to time, it generally performs exceptionally great. If we do some scrolling here, scrolling on iOS 26.0.1 seems to, apart from lag, it seems to perform okay for the most part, but again, it can have lag, especially on older devices like the iPhone 12, which is my main iPhone. Now, as far as my battery, well, my battery health still hasn't dropped. It's been there for a couple months now. I have 80% battery health, and with that battery health, I typically don't get good battery life, but today I had 2 hours, 7 minutes screen on time, a 17-minute screen off time, and used 38% of the battery. And I'm down to 61%. If we take a look at yesterday, I had 3 hours, 28 minutes screen on time, 1 hour, 12 minutes screen off time. Now, with this iPhone, I typically never get good battery life, which is the main reason why I'm planning on upgrading and getting the iPhone 15. Now it's time to take a look at battery health on the iPad. Taking a look at it on the iPad, if I go into my settings here and we scroll down till we get to battery, again, we don't have the battery health feature on the older iPads. That's just for the iPad Pro. I would hope they bring it to the iPad. But as you can see, I used 33% of the battery with 2 hours, 3 minutes screen on time, and 3 minutes screen off time. Yesterday I had 51 minutes screen off time, 7 minutes screen, or 51 minutes screen on, 7 minutes of screen off time. And today with my battery, I'm down to 65%. So on both of these devices, the battery health tends to not be that great, but that's to be expected as this is the 2020 iPad Air along with the iPhone 12, and I've had both of these devices for about 3 years and a couple months. Now I'm going to go ahead and run a Geekbench score. Geekbench completed. And on my iPhone, I scored 2008 for single core, 4,303 for multi-core. And if I take a look at when I ran it last week, I scored 2059 single core, 4480 for multi-core. Taking a look at it on my iPad, I scored 2119 for single core, 5087 for multi-core. And if I go ahead and take a look at last week's result, I scored 2128 for single core, 5136 for multi-core. As far as what to expect next from Apple, well, we can either expect two things. If it needs to happen in October, the update of iOS 26.1, then next week I would expect the RC to release. And I would expect it on Monday, October 20th. I will be installing the RC. I know we've had 3 betas and I haven't installed any one of them yet, but I will for sure be installing the release candidate as that will be less prone to bugs and it's identical to the final release. It will still have some bugs as it is still a part of the beta cycle, but as it's identical to the final release, all of the major show-stopping bugs are squashed. So I will be installing iOS 26.1 RC as soon as we get it. And I would expect it on Monday, October 20th. With the final release, I would expect on Monday, October 23rd. Now, if we get beta 4 next week instead of the RC, this pushes things a little bit. Then I would expect beta 4 on the 20th and RC on the 27th with a final release in the first week of November, more specifically on Monday, November 3rd. I don't think we've ever had a 0.1 release in early November. Usually that's when iOS, the 0.2 update, is currently in its beta testing phase. Last year, iOS 18.1 released pretty early in the day for me at around 10 a.m. Central Time on Monday, October 28th, 2024. This year, I would expect its release on October 27th. So that means we will get the RC on Monday, October 20th. Also, those products, The new M5 iPad Pro and M5 MacBook Pro, I would expect to be released on Wednesday, October 22nd. And of course, when they do come out, I will make a video going over the specs, going over the prices for both the M5 iPad Pro and the M5 MacBook Pro. I will have a short video out going over the iPad Pro. Then I will do a live stream covering both the MacBook Pro and iPad Pro, their prices, their specs, storage options, and different things like that. So leave a comment down below if you're planning on getting the M5 iPad Pro or MacBook Pro. I myself am not able to do that, but leave a comment down below if you are planning on getting it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.